Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome here for the first time. It's been a while, I know, and I'm gonna try and become more consistent with posting because it's something that I'm really interested in, and I just fell off of it for a while because I guess I just couldn't think of something to post, but I'm just gonna force myself this year to push through and keep filming and recording, like, no matter what it is. Like, I can always just trash it if I don't want it, but I'm gonna continue to at least try and keep giving myself the option to create videos. And so I'm just gonna vlog my days and we'll see how many I get up. And I'm definitely going to be trying posting hopefully a couple times a month. We'll see. But it's something I'm really interested in and I have really been thinking about it, and so I'm actually going to give myself a shot and I'm going to continue to post and I'm going to keep posting. I'm going to continue to try to. But I've had a lot going on. So I guess since 2020, my papa got really sick at the beginning of 2020. Or, well, I guess actually he got sick. He started getting sick at the end of 2019. And that really hit me because I live with them. It was me, my sister, my nana, and my papa. That's my grandma and my grandpa. And we were the only ones who lived here. And then my sister moved down south to live with my mom and my other sisters, and her now husband was there, so I was here by myself, and it was just me, him, and Nana, and there was a lot that was happening. He was getting really weak, and he was getting really sick really quickly, and a lot of that fell on me because I'm here. I need to help. I mean, he's my grandpa. How could I not? I mean, he's somebody who means the world to me. And so in my mind, there was no way that I ever would think that he was going to pass. Like, that's not at all what not one time did I think that. Like, I was like, there's no way that's gonna happen. Like, it's just not. Like, he can't. Like, that's how my mind was. And I wasn't in therapy when he had first gotten sick. And that was something that really scared me, the fact that I wasn't in therapy then, because I did not know how I was going to get through the fact that he died if I didn't go to therapy. I didn't know how I could do it. I was like, my whole life's going to end. I'm not going to live past him dying. But he really meant the world to me. But when he got sick, he got weak really fast. In hindsight, you could see he was really decreasing and he was just getting weaker and weaker. And then there was one day where he just didn't get out of bed. He wouldn't wake up, he wouldn't open his eyes, like, he would barely respond. And it was scary, it was terrifying. And my nana's down here, my aunt came over, and my dad was over, and so we finally got him out of the bed, and we got him down the stairs, and we got him to sit in his wheelchair because he couldn't even get himself down the stairs. We had to practically carry him. And then he went off to the hospital, and I gave him one last hug, and I said, I love you, I'll see you when you come home. And they took him off to the hospital, and that was the last time that I saw him before he passed away. And that was hard because we couldn't go visit because of COVID. My nana, she got to go visit, but she didn't get to stay as much as she wanted to. And we got to talk to him on the phone, but it's not the same. And thankfully my aunt, she actually works at the hospital, so we would FaceTime and we could see him, and she got to be with him. He fought so hard until the day that he died. He's the strongest person I know, other than my nana. And as he was in the hospital, it was like up, down, up, down, up, down. He was sick, and then they stabled him out, and he was doing amazing. They sent us this video of him climbing stairs with a nurse in physical therapy and then going back down, and the nurse was even like, wow, I've got to say, I'm impressed. And it was just amazing. Like, it was just so nice to see. He was getting better, is what we all thought. And then he was supposed to come home that next Friday, and then they were all of a sudden like, well, these 2 levels are high. And so we've got to try and stable those out, figure what that is, and then he could come home. And so we ended up moving the bed. We had have a twin size bed. We brought the whole thing down and set it all up for him because he wasn't going to be able to do the stairs, at least not for a while, we were told. And he was having swallowing issues. Like, every single time he swallowed, he aspirated. So we were going to have to help him with his exercises. And he was like, oh, all of you grandkids are gonna have to help me with my exercises, my vocal exercises. And we were all so excited that he was gonna be home, and we had set it all up. And then less than a week later, or a week or less than a week later, we are finding out that he's dying. And even then, it was still like, oh, well, his levels could go up. And then there was one night where I woke up out of dead sleep because I heard so much commotion, and then I heard my dog barking. And so I was just so confused. And I was like, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong with Papa? And so I run down, and my aunt and my Nana are in my Nana's bedroom, and they're getting ready fast, like really quick. Like, Nana's running around her room, getting her stuff together, and my aunt is sitting on the bed talking to my Nana, and also on the phone with the hospital, with the nurse that's with my Papa. And he was crashing. Like, he was not doing well. His heart was not doing well. He, like, they did, in that moment, they were like, you need to get here to the hospital right now. And that was terrifying because that meant it was really real. Like, he really wasn't doing well. And we're rushing, and then they give my aunt a call back, and they said, hey, he's stabilized, so if you want to come, you still can. We can make that exception, because it obviously wasn't visiting hours. But if you want to come, we can make that exception, and you can come and sit with him. But it's not an emergency. You don't need to. He should be okay through the night. And so they decided to stay home. And so we all went downstairs and we're drinking tea. And it was just really hard because obviously we were all hoping for a miracle. And in the moment, I still was like, no, he's not dying. It's not happening. I was so anxious of the thought of him dying that every single time my phone buzzed, my heart just started racing. Or every single time I couldn't get to my phone, or if I wasn't around my phone, that in itself just caused me so much anxiety. And it was always because my aunt was updating all of us, the whole family, through group chats. So that's how we would be talking. And honestly, it still had, like, I'm still a little, like, scarred from that because every time I get that group chat, like, my stomach kind of drops a little bit. And then on November 14th, 2020, I was on FaceTime with my sisters, and we were talking, and, like, we were just, like, joking around, coping, truthfully. Like, we were just finding humor, like, light in a situation that there was no light. And they both live out of town from where I live. And my sister, my oldest sister, she got a call from my dad, and she's like, hey, Dad's calling, I'll call you back. And we were like, okay, whatever. So we stayed in the group FaceTime, and then when she got back on, she's like, Dad just called me, something's wrong with Papa. Like, Papa's not doing well. And so then my younger sister gets a call, and she is like, hang on, Dad's calling me, I'll call you back. And so she hung up, and it was Dad saying, Papa's not doing well, you guys need to come. And I am still like, what the hell is going on? I'm here in Chicago, so I should be knowing what's going on, but no one's telling me anything. My Nana's at the hospital with my Papa and with my aunt, and no one is getting a hold of me. And then finally, I call my dad, and I'm like, what's going on? Can I come to the hospital with you? And he's like, yeah, of course. And so we go to the hospital very early in the morning, and we get there and we check in, and thankfully they let us all go up, because normally, like, this was like during prime pandemic. I mean, we're still obviously still in a pandemic, but so there was like normally no visitors. And because my aunt worked at the hospital, we thankfully all got to go up. And they were like, okay, but only 2 people in the room at a time. And we were like, okay, fair. And so for a while, it was just so hard to see because he was hooked up to all these machines, and there was these cords everywhere. And walking in, it's like my heart was racing and my stomach was dropping, and I just felt sick. Like, I don't know, it's such a hard thing to explain. And then we're going up, and we go to his room, and we get in, and he was so tired, and you could just tell he was so tired. And he was so weak that he couldn't speak. But he tried grunting, and he had a dry mouth, and so the nurse took this like sponge thing and she like dipped it in something and like put it in his mouth, and he was like, like, and she's like, what, you don't like the taste? And he was like, no. I'm like, like, he didn't actually say no, but like he was like, and like he hated it, and he was still like putting up a fight like to the very last second. And everybody gets there, and my sisters are on FaceTime, and they're saying goodbye through FaceTime, which is hard enough in itself. And then we all go into this room, and they have like a chapel leader, like a pastor, I guess, with us just for final prayers or like whatever we need at the church, because like I guess they requested it or something. And he was just like sitting there with us, and like we were just like praying, and then he left, and then we were all just like sitting there, and they had like snacks and like stuff for us, and we would like just rotate going in and out. And then they said that they were going to take him off his medicine, like the medicine that was keeping him alive. And we got to say goodbye, and they finally took him off his medicine, and I went in there and I was holding his hand, and he was so swollen because he was just retaining liquids. Like he wouldn't urinate, his kidneys were failing, and his liver, like nothing was working, and he was so swollen, and I was just sitting there holding his hand. It was so warm, but just was so swollen. It was like two times or 3 times the size that it normally should be. And he was just, his upper body was just so sunken in. He was just so skinny, and he just looked so frail. And I was looking at him, and as they were taking him off of the stuff, I was just sitting there, and my Nana was sitting next to me, and we were all 3 just kind of holding hands. And I was like, I know, it's okay. We understand that you have to go. We understand you want to stay, but we understand that you can't stay. And he shed the hardest part for me, and like the most vulnerable part for me is he actually shed a tear. He actually cried a little bit, and it broke my heart. Like, it was proof that it was just so hard. Like, the strongest man I know. No matter how badly we wanted him to be here, none of us had control over if he stayed or left. Not even him. And we tried everything, and he fought so hard. And then I could hear that his breathing was slowing down, and I could see his breaths were getting more and more shallow, because the only medicine that he was on was morphine, so that he wasn't hurting. And he just kept slowing his breath down more and more, and it got more and more shallow. So I decided to get up and leave the room, and I went and I sat down in the other room, and a few seconds later my dad came in and said that he was gone. And that's when it was really real, because I couldn't go in there and see him alive anymore, because he wasn't there. And that was the hardest part. Don't get me wrong, I'm so grateful we got to say goodbye, and we all got to go in and just like give our last regards and love on him like a little longer, because I mean, goodbyes are so hard, and especially when you have somebody that you talk to every day, you live with them, and your whole life has been around them, with them, and now they're gone. Like, I can't just pick up a phone and call him, or I can't just go downstairs and talk to him, or watching my favorite TV shows that we would watch together, or his favorite TV shows that we would watch together. It just hurt now. It's not very easy. It's been a year and some months now, and it's still, sometimes I'd argue it's harder now, because now instead of just grieving his loss, I have to learn to live a new life. I have to live differently. Everything has changed. Nothing will ever go back to the way that it was before. And I don't know. a big piece of my life is missing now. And I understand that loss is something that's meant to be. It's inevitable, and death always comes. No matter who you are, you eventually pass. But it is the hardest thing that I've ever gone through. And I just wish that I didn't have to be going through it. And growing up, I've lost a lot of people. I lost a lot of people growing up. And the hardest person to lose by far is my papa. Don't get me wrong, everyone else was hard too. But, man, losing him, it is the hardest thing that I've ever gone through. And I don't take that lightly. I've been through a lot. I mean, there's a lot that's happened in my life. And I always had him. I had him to have a conversation with. I had him to talk to. And a hard part was adjusting to not having that anymore. I didn't have that person anymore. I don't have him. I still don't have him. He's gone. And I just wish that there was maybe like some way that I could have like prepared myself more, which I prepared myself as best as I could, but I just wish it'd be so cool if there was like a phone that you could just call up to like heaven or whatever you believe in and talk to whoever you miss, like just to check in. Like, he's the one person that I know that I'd be like, oh my gosh, what's it like? And he'd be so truthful. And not being able to have that conversation with him, or just any conversation with him, it's really hard. And something I struggle with. And I've been struggling for a while. And grief is interesting. Grief is a whole nother story. And I just wanted to, I don't know, this is a hard thing for me to share. And I just want to do it because maybe there's somebody else who's struggling like I'm struggling. And maybe that will help them. Maybe no one will watch this. But I can at least say that I shared my story of what I'm going through, and I've been vulnerable with whoever decides to watch this. And maybe it'll help somebody feel better. Maybe it'll help put a smile on someone's face, or maybe not a smile, but maybe it'll help somebody realize that they're not alone. And they don't have to be alone. And there are other people who are experiencing this too. And it's just, I completely lost my train of thought. I just wanted to say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is me, and like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll be back with more videos, and it'll be nice to, I don't know, be better about posting, and I'll see you next time. Bye.